My first New Zealand title was in 2007 in Dunedin in the old car which Phil Kramer had and Alex Hill. I think it's in Auckland for sale now. It was just a Ford 6-cylinder. Unfortunately I didn't qualify. I got third I think in the non-qualifiers, so that was a taste of my first New Zealand title. My first New Zealand champs I qualified at was my second New Zealand title, which was in 2008 in Wanganui, and we're lucky enough to have changed the car from the Ford 6-cylinder to one of Graham Morrison's Toyota V8s. And I think in the final heat at one point we're sort of in the hunt for points, but I got punched off the end, just inexperienced in the slick, and slapped the wall and had to retreat to the infield and suck in a couple of big ones. But that was my first taste of qualifying with sort of the best of the best, and a lot of my idols too, because I'm only 2 years into Superstock racing, and I guess all the guys I raced with were my idols or wanted to be like them. So yeah, it was pretty awesome just to be involved in it. When I raced in Wanganui, it would have been Kyle Fraser had a run off with Hemi for the win. Yeah, so Wayne got second, Daryl Taylor got third. There was Royden Collingwood, Pete Rees, Scott Redfern, and Jared Wade, like all of the greats from then. I mean, some of them obviously still are, but me coming into it as a young'un, I was only like 18 or 19, and I was pretty overwhelmed just to be able to be in the final. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. New Zealand champs in Nelson. Obviously we'd built the new car with Higgy and done some improvements to the engine with Graham Morrison. We'd obviously always had one of his engines, and the sister car to mine was Dale McKenzie's one, and he had a much better run than me, and he come through the repcharge and ended up 2NZ. I tore a shock off in the second race, so the first race, so that was pretty much my night done. So it was pretty awesome for Dale to get that far up, especially coming through the repcharge, and he was pretty new to it as well, like a couple of 3 seasons into Superstock, so shows that you can get it done, eh? In the final heat in Nelson, the Nelson cars did a good job of sticking together, but I felt like I sort of let Dale down a little bit. I probably could have had a swipe at Shane Penn to get him through, but I guess in a way it worked for me in the future, because I guess if I'd had a go at Shane Penn back then, he had a lot of followers and a lot of people that he looked up to him. I think they probably would have stopped me at the New Zealand, so I did get in the way of a few cars and have a go at some of the blockers, and Blair Cunningham was doing the same and a few others, but there was only a point in it, so it wouldn't have taken much to get him through. But on a whole, I think the Nelson drivers did a better job than they had done in the past in terms of sticking together. 2011, when Dale Avis won in Rotorua, Higgy and I went out then and gave it a pretty good nudge, and I was sort of off the back of a few paybacks since that final heat, so I was sort of ready for a bit of a break of not getting paybacks at all the big titles if I had a chance. So I guess that sort of plays on your mind a wee bit, but probably shouldn't. You should probably just roll your sleeves up and get into it anyway. After Nelson, we're obviously a bit gutted because the new car was supposed to come out and it was going really well, and Dale and I were going really well in them, and I thought that I was in with a pretty good chance. And then, so that must have been 2012, 13, so 2014 we're off to Napier, and I managed to qualify again there, which I was stoked about, and ended up 4th overall there, so quite close but very far away all the same. Then the following year was Wellington, same again, I was up on points there. Dale actually went out and was a real menace trying to help out, but unfortunately I got cleaned out in the first lap and put on my roof, so that's quite counterproductive to doing well. So I remember having a conversation with Dad on the ferry on the way home, you know, at some point will we get lucky, or is this as close as we're going to get, getting up on points and getting taken out? And he's like, oh well, while we're qualifying and we're in with a chance, I guess we keep turning up and it's a numbers game and one day we might slip through. Yeah, well, we got the old car off Rob Myers and I just chose green because it was, I guess, different to the blue that my brother had, and then it's stayed like it ever since. Now it's got its own little personality. The boys call it the green machine and it sort of is what it is. 07 probably would have been the stock car when it was first painted that green. We just carried on with the rest of our campaign into the following year, which was 2016 in Stratford. We just scraped through qualifying. I guess going into finals, I wasn't overly confident with the speed of the car. It was okay, but I was looking for more side bite and a bit of forward grip, but just managed to stay out of trouble and get those first few laps right without any mistakes, and that put us for 5th or 6th on points into the final heat, and I was just left alone and managed to get through the carnage, and I had absolutely no idea what position I'd finished. I knew I was sort of in the top 5 in that race, but I had no idea how much the points had changed around and who was where, so.
Harwood's got the points lead! Harwood leads! The 18 leads! Harwood wins it! Yeah. The 18 wins it!
I just pulled onto the infield for a bit of a breath because I'm a bit of an athlete, so I run out of puff easy. And yeah, the commentator came over and said that I'd won, and I was absolutely speechless, like something that me and Dad and the boys, the crew, had chased for ages, finally sort of coming off. It was a pretty surreal feeling. Yeah, going out in the last race, like 5th or 6th on points, I think a lot of things have got to go your way and plenty of things have to go against the other guys in front of you, and I was just lucky enough that everyone was concentrating on everything else and what was happening in front of me was all working in my favour, so I did get very lucky to get through, and there was only 1 or 2 South Island cars in the final race, so you sort of feel pretty lonely out there. I mean, we did have some pretty good friends or friendships based from travelling a lot and that, but when it comes down to it, if they're looking after their track code or their teammates, it is what it is on the track, so I certainly didn't think that we were able to get that far up, but stoked we did. Also, yeah, 2016, that season sort of came to a close, being 1NZ, and we made a few improvements to the car and raced 2017-18 to defend the title. So we're lucky enough to qualify because you have a lot of pressure on yourself. That was in Palmy, and I think I ended up 6th overall or 7th up there, so at the right end of the field. But again, like, it's nothing to write home about. If there was like 4 or 5 guys taken out, you're sort of 10th or worse, and a few DNFs. So I mean, still finished and heading in the right direction, but I was pretty disappointed, I guess. Didn't have the car speed I wanted. They're probably all going to need a bit of a huff up there, Big Daddy. Gee whiz, that must just about be at maximum with me in it.
When I was in the car, it felt like it was leaning to the left a lot, just looking out the window.
Yeah, it is. If we can, we need to take a bit out of that right rear. Don't know what the old 2-step's up to, but we'll figure that out.
Do you need to roll back a bit, Harwood?
Maybe 40 mil, 30 mil.
Yeah.
Would that help?
Do you need to go back? Right?
Yeah, I need to go back 30.
How's that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then. Is it fueled up, Harwood?
Yes, yeah. We'll start as we
Start at 50. We're at 60 in mine.
Yeah, no, I think we just send it.
50 in this. Now
That's
it's got more grunt.
Pop the front up and we'll do a turn in a bit there. And hang on, I'll just quickly check that and see if I can afford to go down one there. No. Pop a couple in there and see what it does.
2.
Yep, feed it to
Keep
it.
going, Big Daddy. Keep going, mate. Yep. I thought the front could heat.
Hopefully it's not too noisy, eh?
Yeah, right.
So, raced again the following year. That was in Christchurch, the title there. And I missed out on qualifying through a runoff with Harley and Keegan Levine. And then in the non-qualifiers first race, hit a wet spot halfway through the race and hit the wall and broke a couple of ribs and fractured my back. And my boy was only 3 then, and it sort of dawned on me that I was pretty hopeless for a couple of months and had responsibilities here at work, and had a few conversations with the family and my wife, and we decided that it'd probably be a good idea to just take a season or 2 off and recharge and concentrate on work, which we did. And then the opportunity popped up while we were watching the 240s 2 years ago, 22. Ben had injured his hip and they'd built that Higgins car with a Marsh Ford in it, so ran a couple of seasons in that, or a season and a half, helping Higgy develop it and bits and pieces, so had a bunch of fun. And that team was based around just enjoying the sport and no expectations, so had a bunch of fun and won a few small championships around locally and stuff. And then we ended up with the trailer, and my old man had a bit of the bug back, and here we are. So gave the car back to Tony, as Dad wanted to race this one here in Nelson, just because we feel like we know what we've got, and it's an opportunity for someone else to drive Hig and Tony's car. So yeah, we're back in the green machine and we'll reassemble the crew and see how we go. Tony Gallagher started that. I'm already comfortable in my car, and with the New Zealand champs here, it was an easy decision to just default back to my car. And Graham Morrison and Ryan offered some updated cylinder heads and intake manifold, which has sort of, I guess, updated my engine to the current sort of platform that they're running at now, and they're really happy with how the engine's dynoed up. So as a team, we're pretty excited to get out and sort of give it all a go and sort of see where we're at with an older car and a fresher engine package. All the crew and the boys and my old man were all pretty excited about having the old faithful back out. So yeah, it's just a shoe that fits really well. Yeah, so the program for this season, and I guess our plan or expectations, we're just really grateful that Graham's given us the opportunity to run that engine equipment. Those components are obviously a big help to update the engine, so we're just going to run the practices in Nelson and a few local meetings and get to Christchurch and run in some traffic down there, just sort of get match fit in a way, you know, get those first few laps. Really critical to get them right during the race, because if you have a cock up in the first couple of laps, you're on the back foot. So it's important to get out and race and sort of not perfect that, but just sort of get comfortable with those first couple of laps. And then after the New Zealand champs, at the New Zealand champs, I guess our focus is to try and qualify. First and foremost, that's, I guess, everyone's goal. And then we'll take the second day, however that looks, we'll deal with that the best we can. Obviously, with that being in Nelson, there's going to be a lot of family around, and for us, it's more important now to enjoy the sport instead of putting pressure on to perform. Like, we've got a great team and a well-maintained car, so we can do reasonably well and enjoy the sport.
got his flag out and then he waves it out. The yellow it's grey paint that we're going to use. This is the one that comes off my dad's thing. I'll show you all about it out there. Yeah, I'm going in the pits. And the pits today.
That's all good. I found a different one in there, which will do.
Yeah, no, that's where because I looked this morning.
I was supposed to. Yeah, I was supposed to have a look before we left, but I found one in there that'll do the job.
Yeah, so that's where
We'll just chuck it up in there. Yeah, that'll be mint. Yeah. I can't remember. This side. Press the button.
Good luck, Dad.
Thanks, matey.
You've got to be the winner, Dad. Be the winner.
Better be. Have they called us up? No one's gone yet, but you can go. Are the stockies out there?
Yeah, they're on the track running.
it's been like that, eh?
He's good. He's good. Dad just likes racing with his friends and having a good time out there, you know?
Good time with his friends.
Do you think he's going to be the fastest out there?
Probably. We'll see.
He was the winner, and he was racing in this race car, and it's a bit dirty on the top.
Do you help clean it? Tell me what's your favourite things about Speedway?
Watching Daddy race.
Yeah. Speedway snack.
Chips. Or a hot dog.
Are you excited to watch him race at the New Zealand Champs?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you think he's going to go?
At least top 5, maybe.
Top 5? That's your prediction?
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's a bit of a recap on the 2 practices. First practice, the track went quite slick, which will be sort of, I guess, how it's going to be at the New Zealand Champs. So we're sort of looking for some more side bite around the corners. So Ant made up a new Jacob's ladder, so the linkage in the back that holds the diff, just different geometry to what we had. We did have a Jacob's ladder, but Ant's built a new one and different geometry and mounted that in the car. It was a bit of a job, but definitely moving in today, it was a real positive move forward. Got a bit more stability and control in those slick conditions, so everything else has run well. We've had no breakdowns and the engine's great, temps are all good. So yeah, now I guess we're just going to look for a little bit more traction, so possibly change some spring rates and bits and pieces, but it's good to have a few fast cars to run with out here and compare things to. Yeah, it's going to be pretty tight between, you know, a lot of top cars if the track goes slick at the New Zealand title, so we're just going to keep working away on some traction and see how it goes. That's our practice sessions done, so just the 2 practices. Then we'll turn our attention to opening night on the 19th, and yeah, we're basically straight into the racing from there. So we'll do a couple more little changes and just work on trying to get a little bit more car speed in these slick conditions. So basically the first bit of the night, the track's pretty good, so turn our focus to sort of keeping up with the track and then seeing if we can find an advantage in that last race, you know, when the track's really slick. So yeah, bit of shed time before the 19th and crack into opening night.